When I walked into the courtroom, my mother rolled her eyes in disgust, and my father couldn't even look at me. Suddenly the judge froze. She leaned forward and whispered, "Wait, is that really her?" The whole room fell silent. Nobody had any idea who I was. At least not yet. "Don't you dare embarrass us," my mother hissed as we walked through the courthouse doors. "Just stay quiet and let the real lawyers handle this." I didn't answer. I just kept walking, my heels clicking against the marble floor with a confidence I had spent years building. My father wouldn't even look at me. His gaze was fixed on a distant point, as if I were a stain he couldn't bear to acknowledge. Nothing new there. My name is Anna. I'm 31 years old, and for most of my life, I've been the family disappointment. The dropout, the failure, the one they pretended didn't exist when relatives asked about their children. We were at the courthouse in Omaha, Nebraska, because my parents were trying to evict their tenant, a woman named Claire. Her crime? Daring to ask for repairs before paying rent on a building that was literally falling apart. My parents owned 3 rental properties, all inherited from my grandfather, and they ran them like their own personal kingdoms, just collecting money. Claire had been in one of their apartments for 2 years, always paying on time, until the ceiling started leaking and black mold grew in her daughter's bedroom. She had withheld rent and asked for the repairs to be done first. My parents responded by filing for eviction. She signed a contract. My mother had ranted over the phone 2 weeks ago. She doesn't get to just stop paying because she's picky about a little moisture. A little moisture. That's what she called black mold. I'd heard about the case through my younger sister Melissa, who still lived at home despite being 28. She'd mentioned it casually during one of our rare phone calls, not knowing I'd spent the last 7 years clawing my way through law school, working 3 jobs, sleeping in my car more nights than I could count, and finally passing the bar exam. I had done it all alone, without a single dollar or word of encouragement from them. They didn't even know I'd gone to college, let alone become an attorney. The day I'd walked out of their house at 19, my father had thrown my things onto the front lawn. "You're nothing," he shouted. "You'll never amount to anything without us." My mother had stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. "Don't come crawling back when you fail." I hadn't. Not even when I was sleeping in my car behind a grocery store, surviving on vending machine snacks. I didn't go back. Not even when I was so exhausted from working overnight shifts that I could barely stay awake in class. I would have rather starved than swallowed my pride and begged for help from the people who'd made it clear they thought I was worthless. Now, as we walked toward the courtroom, I watched my mother smooth down her expensive blouse and adjust her pearls. Appearances were always more important than anything else. My father walked beside her in his tailored suit, the very picture of respectability. They told everyone at their country club that they only had one daughter, Melissa, who worked as a receptionist and let them control every part of her life. "I don't know why you even came," my mother muttered as we neared the courtroom doors. "This doesn't concern you." I just smiled and said nothing. Let them think I was just here to watch. Let them think I was still the broken girl they'd thrown away. Inside, the courtroom air was thick with tension. Claire sat at the defendant's table, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. She was a small woman in her 40s, wearing a dress that had seen better days. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and exhaustion was etched into every line on her face. This wasn't just about an apartment, it was about keeping a roof over her daughter's head. My parents took their seats, and my mother gestured for me to sit in the gallery behind them. I walked right past her, ignoring the command, and headed straight for Claire's table. I could feel my mother's eyes burning into my back, her mind racing to figure out what I was doing. "Excuse me," I said quietly.